Center every week for the last 40 years, and it's certainly a blessing that Swami has provided us with to give us this center where we can all come together each week amongst like-minded individuals and share the glory of Swami. So it's certainly a wonderful day, and to mark this occasion, we have a program today to celebrate this occasion. To start off, I'd like to invite the National President of the Sathya Sai International Organization, Brother Vignesh Shanmugam, who has come from Sydney to visit us in Melbourne for this occasion, and I'm told he has to leave fairly soon. So with that, I'd like, please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to our
Swami, hello everyone. Definitely a warm weather. When I left Sydney this morning, it was pouring cats and dogs. It was really heavy to a point where I thought that the flight wouldn't take off, because Sydney Airport has become so volatile that even if you sneeze, they will shut down the airport. That's how it has become. So many flight cancellations. It has become so sensitive to the weather. But fortunately, with Swami's blessings, the plane took off and landed. It left 10 minutes late, but it arrived 5 minutes earlier. So Swami made it happen. And it's so nice to come to the warm weather in Melbourne, but it's not warm just because of the weather outside, but it's very warm because of the love that permeates within this room. It's warm because of the love that we have for Swami, and it's also very warm because of the love that Swami has for each and every one of us. But just speaking on the weather, I honestly think that, we used to, the Sydney siders used to say that the Sydney weather is becoming slowly like Melbourne, where it's warm during the day, in the morning, and then it shifts, it rains in the evening, or vice versa. But I think we have completely overtaken you all. It's become really bad over there, and here it's a little bit more stable, so that's a good sign for all of you. Now, when it comes to anniversary is something that each and every one of us on a day-to-day basis, it's something that's very familiar to all of us. In relationships, we celebrate anniversaries. Between husband and wife, we remember important dates and we celebrate anniversary. If we forget the date, we forget the end and we just say very sorry, that's it. But the thing is that why is this anniversary, this 40 years? And as Myron said, that so many people have put their heart and soul and time and commitment to not only establishing this center, but also to keep it going. Keep it going for the last 40 years, and to keep it going for the next 40 years, for the 40 years after that, for the 40 years after that. Why? It's because of the pure love that not only we have for Swami, not only the love that Swami has shared with each and every one of us, but also the realization that Swami is here. That Swami is not somewhere far away in the distance, but the very fact that Swami is present in each and every one of us, and very much alive here today in this particular room. And that love and presence of Swami could be felt. I felt it so much in the bhajans, the energy of the bhajans. I'll share a very small story of my experience. When I had the chance to go to Puttaparthi, I shared this earlier with the Sandeep South. I won't go to the full story. My first experience going to Puttaparthi, I was all alone by myself. Didn't go in the pilgrimage, had no idea what to do. So anyway, I had the opportunity to go there multiple times. And every time I went to Puttaparthi and had the chance to go into Purwan Hall and sit down and meditate and connect and pray to Swami, I only had one desire or one ask, and that is for an interview with Swami. That's all. Because I grew up, my background is I'm from Malaysia. So I grew up with the folks of people like Uncle Vijayanesan that some of you all may know, the Suresh Govind that some of you all may know as well, and many others, who every single time they go to Puttaparthi, guaranteed there will be an interview with Swami. Not only that, guaranteed there will be some form of materialization, either vibhuti or a pendant or a chain or a watch, head to toe accessory, something will be materialized by Swami. So I grew up with that influence. I grew up with that inspiration. So every time when I went to Puducherry, I used to travel to India a lot for work. So I always make it a point to go to Puducherry. And I used to, in that state of contemplation and meditation, I used to ask Swami, just one interview. All I want is just one interview. So in typical Swami style, he will not respond immediately. I'm sure all of you will have heard and experienced yourself, where Swami will give the silent treatment or he won't even respond until a certain period of time. That was my experience as well. And after several trips, I got a response in my meditation. I remember the question I asked was, Swami, give me one interview. And Swami's response to me was, why are you asking for one interview when I've given you hundreds, if not thousands of interviews? So see that statement. I'm asking, Swami, just give me one interview, but he's saying, why are you asking for one and I've given you hundreds, if not thousands of interviews? So now, my prayer changes. I'm no longer asking for that one interview. I'm now asking for the clarification. Can you please tell me, Swami, what do you mean by hundreds? And I've not even gotten one, but here you are telling me after you have given me, not you are going to give, you have given me hundreds, if not thousands of interviews. Again, typical Swami style, response doesn't come immediately. A few more trips. And after several years, and by the way, I never had Swami, that my proximity with Swami was always at a distance. Never got a namaskaram or anything of that sort. Never got an interview, right? This is the interview. But this was the response that he gave me, which was so powerful that it is still something that I very vividly, very remember. Each and every conversation that you're having with each and everyone is an interview that I'm giving you. That was the response that Swami gave me. And there were no conditions. He didn't say, conversations only with Sai devotees, conversations only with family members, conversations only with, no, absolutely zero conditions. He said, each and every conversation you have with everybody is an interview that I'm giving you. And how profound is that? That is Swami telling me that He's present in each and every one of us. That is Swami telling me that each and every one of us have that experience, the unique experience with Swami, that every story has its own uniqueness and its own essence and its own message. And after that, I remember, I stopped asking for the one interview, and this time around I even stopped asking for interviews completely. But that message, to me, then I started to pay more attention to conversations with each and every one. And it's so very true. The experiences that people have, either physical experiences or dreams or whatever it is such a unique message that each and every one of us has. And this is the message that each and every one of us have that we need to share. In Sai's name, right? S-A-I, it means so many things. It can mean so many things, but it also means share and inspire. So we need to share Swami's experiences, the experiences that we have. We need to share the uniqueness of our connection with Swami, because that is the only way we inspire. That's the only way we motivate. That's the only way we bring to life what Swami told us many years ago. When he started off, he said, his life is his message. After that, he said, our lives are his message. So, the 40 years of the center, the legacy it has, and the legacy of the future will continue only by us sharing. Will continue only by us getting Swami's message out there. And Sandeep has done a fantastic job in terms of sharing all the events that happens here, all the activities that happens in Melbourne Centre, and also the activities that happen at the Queen Victoria Market as well. When we started to post a lot of these activities in our social media, believe it or not, I was getting messages. I'm not sure whether you got any messages or not, but people are actually reaching out. How can I participate in this activity? how can I be a part of this? How can I contribute? And that is the power of sharing. That is the power of embracing what Swami has taught us. And the important thing is also, often when it comes to events like anniversaries or anything of that sort, what do we normally do, which is very commercialized now, is that we get a gift. The question we've got to ask ourselves is, what gift can we give that's worthy to put at Swami's feet? He's already given us a gift, which is each and every one of us. He's already given us a gift, the blessing of this center. He's already given us a gift, an organization that we are part of. So the question is, what gift can we offer to Swami? And to make sure that Swami is happy. And to make sure that Swami is always there to guide us. And to make sure that Swami is always there to bless us. And He's always there each and every time. No one is special in the sense that their connection to Swami is better or bigger or whatever to someone else. It's unique to each and every individual. But the sharing is what brings us all together as one, which is what Swami has taught us. He's never put any restrictions, He's never put any limitations. Instead, He has said the complete opposite. Take my message and go out there. And that commitment of that availability, Swami never said, I would like to know what your capability is or what your ability is. Because that is what Swami gives us. Again, that's the gift that Swami gives us. All we have to offer to Swami is our availability. And the rest is all He's doing. So the one step that we take, which is to offer our availability, and everything else is 100 steps that Swami takes towards all of it. So I won't take too much of your time, but thank you so much, Brother Sandeep, for extending the invitation. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's very, very pleasant, very nice to be here. And also another gift that Swami has given each and every one of us is anywhere we go, whichever part of the world we go, the first thing that we look up as Sai is where is the nearest Sai center. We won't even look for anything else. The first thing we look for is where is the nearest Sai center. That is the gift that Swami has given us. A family that is present all around the world. Any corner of the world that you go to, Swami's presence is there. And it's so welcoming. And that's the gift that Swami has given us again. Yet another simple yet very profound gift in our lives. So let us embrace it. Let us extend full appreciation to Swami for the 40 years that He has blessed the center and for the 40 years to come and more and more. And it's so nice to also be in a gathering with adults and young adults and senior members as well. And I often say that when we talk about the we, when we do things together, it's not that the young adults are doing things on their own and the adults are doing things, no. The we represents, the W is the wisdom of the adults, and the E represents the energy of the young adults. Everybody has to be together as one family to move forward. So with that, thank you so much once again.
Thank you again, Brother Vignesh. Your words of inspiration was very pertinent on this occasion, and you mentioned the warm welcome you received in Melbourne, and we invite you to come as often as possible because it's certainly inspirational and energizing to have you here. So thank you so much for coming all the way to the city. Both myself and Brother Vignesh mentioned the long efforts of people who have established the centre and maintained the centre throughout the 40 years. And we're very lucky to have Auntie Margaret, who I believe was present when the centre was established. She established the centre, yeah. With that, we'd like to invite Auntie Margaret to share a bit of the history of the centre. She's been here in the section, so she'll tell us about the journey that the centre has gone through. Please welcome her.
Hello everybody. My Lord, I offer this very humble attempt at your lotus feet, and we are grateful and ever you are in our hearts. I didn't get that quite right, but I'll see if I can straighten it out with the truth, which is always flexible. What I've done, I've just want everyone to bear in mind that I apologise if I have left anything important out or people out, because there's so many things that have happened in 40 years, and in the first years everything was so hectic, we hardly slept sometimes, but I've attempted to highlight the things that I felt were worth highlighting. In 1980, many people were exploring alternatives to orthodox religions, and small groups would be formed in our society around a variety of interests. For example, astrology, meditation, Reiki, healing, yoga, magic phenomena, channeling, messages, and those are just a few. And this was the background that we all came from. An academic from La Trobe University, Dr. Moshe Croy, held lectures on some of these topics, which were called transpersonal phenomenology. I enrolled in a series of workshops on a past life regressions session in April 1981. This proved to be a cathartic experience. In the last session, I shared my insight on my experiences of seeing Jesus hanging on the cross. I was emotional, as there were 11 other people. Dr. Croy also started crying, and he said he'd read a book this week, given to him by one of his students about a holy man in India, and he's just like Jesus. I asked him who he was, and he replied, his name is Sai Baba. I'm so interested, I think I'll go and see him. I said, please can I come with you? And about 5 others in the group, they said they wanted to go too. And he said, perhaps we could get a group together. As a result, on the 29th of January 1982, a large number of 56 spiritually minded people, all Australians, went to see Sai Baba. He gave us an interview on the 6th of February, which was compelling and insightful. We asked all the wrong questions, but never mind. And he manifested a deep independence to some people. And some people on the trip had actually seen him and been to Prashanti before. It was just a handful of them. And they had bhajans in Melbourne, just a couple of private homes, but nothing very much, because no one seemed to know anybody what they were doing. So, on return, this resulted in a small group meeting in Richmond. A few weeks later, we moved into Paran Migrant Centre in Chapel Street, South Yarra. Later that year, Indra Shah from the World Council came from Puttaparthi to Sydney, where he met interested Thai people from around Australia. As I remember, it was a challenging atmosphere because of different opinions, different cultures, and we met new people with their ideas. I think he wondered what he'd struck. But on the 30th March 1983, Melbourne Centre, along with other centres in different states, were officially registered. And we started off with about 10 to 15 people. Some of these people had seen Sai Baba on previous trips, and a small committee was formed. Ed Oberg was the coordinator, Elizabeth Hollow, and the secretary was Carlos de Silva, and he did the service, and Teresa, she did the button, she was a button coordinator. An application to become a centre was made to the World Council and was accepted. And they were very particular about who they accepted in this organisation, and formalities had to be followed. Our main task was to learn bhajans. We would meet on Thursday nights to practice for the following Sunday session. They were always late nights. There were quite a few experts around them on how the bhashan should be sung. Later that year, Jagat Vishan from Malaysia came to our centre. He taught us English bhashans and stressed the importance of singing in our own language as well as Sanskrit, which was a challenge for some of us. I speak for myself there. Also, Ravi Shankar, the famous Indian sitar player, came to our bhajan practice when he was on tour in Melbourne. As he played the music, he created such a spiritual experience. We were absolutely mesmerised. I had tears streaming down my face, and we were all sitting on the floor, just about 8 of us with tears. He played bhajans for us, and we were very moved and honoured to have him. Swami makes things happen for a reason. As our bhajans grew better, so did the numbers attending the centre. We photocopied our first bhajan book from bhajans that were collected by individual members. One of our members, Grace Burford, wrote English bhajans, which were presented to Swami on a cassette on the 1st of October, and we were expanding and slowly learning our responsibilities in running the centre. We started a study circle and hunted around for service activities. We had to hunt around for them. We couldn't find any. We looked in the community and asking the local councils for lists to help the disadvantaged. Example, teaching English to Vietnamese boat people. We also were helping the elderly with gardening, cleaning, transporting them to medical appointments and cleaning up units with disability. One of our members was a dentist and he freely helped some of the migrants with decaying teeth. On Swami's 60th birthday, we delivered food parcels for 60 families. After a period of 2 years, side people from Mill Park set up their own centre with some meetings. During this time, we were all learning and trying to put into practice Swami's teachings. In April 1985, an Indian cyclist arrived from Western Australia, then Sydney, and on to Melbourne. And he was visiting centres to talk about Swami and share stories. I picked him up at a private home in Mill Park where they held bhajans. When he got into the car, he started singing 2 bhajans, which I had been practising and learning. What a coincidence, I thought. I got lost driving out of the new estate, because Mill Park was very new then. We both laughed and laughed and laughed. It was so embarrassing what to do. At the Melbourne Centre, he told stories. When he arrived here, he talked about Sai teachings and people who had visited Sai Baba. We lapped up every word. The following day, he moved to regional Victorian Gippsland to speak to their groups, and like me, they were amazed at his knowledge. A lot of us afterwards concluded it was Swami who bilocated in another form. Some people interstate denied the very thought of this. At that time, Swami was appearing and manifesting himself in different countries, even to people in their homes, but not necessarily in his orange robe. One devotee later went to Madras to check out our cyclist, to where he said he had lived, and inquired after him, and nobody had ever heard of him. How about that? The Melbourne Centre in the mid-80s and 90s was active in the 5 wings. The service wing, on one of Swami's birthdays, we decided to have a service project after a morning session and lunch. Jenny Crawford, who had recently arrived from India, organised a tree planting at the Kingston Council, and we planted 1,008 trees on the Minto foreshore. In each hole, we placed a quote of Swami's under the tree. We all had to read our own quote and internalise it. We planted more than one tree, of course, because there wasn't 1,008 people. In each hole, we placed a quote of Swami's under the tree. Some years later, I drove past to check out the foreshore and was delighted and proud to see the tree growth. The whole area was absolutely flourishing. Tom Zajac he was out as a coordinator, started a feeding program for the homeless on a Saturday night at the Salvation Army Kitchen in Grey Street in St Kilda. Other centres joined with us. This activity continued a few years until the site was closed and relocated to another venue. So we set up the feeding program in the city on the Thursday night. Also, our Sai youth would come and also wander the streets distributing blankets to the homeless in the winter months. Years later, we were reallocated to the Victoria market due to due to council regulations as Melbourne was changing and bringing in new rules. So here we still are, the big market. Another feeding program was started by Con Manus, and he was a member of our centre, the National Service Coordinator. And at Lara State School near Geelong, he and I actually went down there together to talk to the headmaster, and his eyes got bigger and bigger because no one really walked in and said, this was the poorest school in Victoria. They had 3 generations of people who had never worked, and it was really hard for the children, and that was, hard. As well as the food, we organised a breakfast program for the children who were arriving at school without breakfast. As well as food, the children's garden was started with the support of the headmaster, and we were teaching the children how to grow and eat healthy food. Well, the children started coming to school early, wanting to help serve the breakfast. Then the parents wanted to come and help out as well. So we provided the groceries until the Geelong Rotary Club decided to manage it. It was a win-win, as some of our people were moving from the area. Another service activity was collecting home goods and clothing for East Timor when they separated from Indonesia after the war. We had a pickup van by an acquaintance of mine who was working for this charity, and he was delighted with the generosity shown by this organisation. They had the opportunity to fill up some half-loaded containers being taken to East Timor for no cost. So that was good. The following day he rang me and thanked me and to ask about our organisation. And what did Sai around me? So I smiled through his phone and explained. I think everybody who asked said Sai around to him. He was so curious. The education wing, in February 1987, after arriving home from Prashanti, I was filled with excitement about Swami's discourse on 5 human values and 5 teaching techniques. I met a girl called Leslie, thanks to my age, from South Australia, who was a teacher. Swami, in his way, had sat us together in darshan, as he does, and the two of us started talking and ended up sitting in the stairwell for several nights in Roundhouse 1 discussing the program. Swami had outlaid it in his discourse. We were exploring ideas of how to inculcate these precious values into programs in the centre and secular school system. We both felt we had work to do. After I had been home 1 month, I received a phone call from Arthur Hillcoat, who was the national coordinator, asking me to set up education EHD SSE in Victoria. Oh yes, said I. All right. 2 of my friends at our centre, Cynthia Shaw and Ed Oberg, had already been playing around with some of these things. So my dad said, and we contacted another person called Jenny Crawford, who had just finished her PhD, I think it was a master's. Anyway, she'd just come back and we all started brainstorming, drawing on our academic background to formulate the processes needed. We also needed to recruit teachers that were Sai devotees, and we didn't know many. After a few months, we were given an opportunity to hold a workshop at Lara Serendipity Sanctuary where one of our teachers, John Irving, lived. 8 of us brainstormed the program and we were outlining our resource needs. Only 4 of us were able to put the time in after that weekend. We held many meetings planning the program. We knew the format, but the contents were all different in every country, so every country had to do their own homework in setting up classes. We also had to assess our centre needs and encourage devotees to study the course in teaching SSC in their centres. After many meetings, we started an SSC teacher training course at Cynthia's Place in Croydon. We started with 5 participants. We thought we were going to get, at least 20 people, and 5 people turned up. But it was perfect because this is what Swami does. With this small group, we were able to refine our presentations and resources needed. You're not going to be the best cab off the rank the first time you do it. So we're able to hone in on our whole program of 7 weeks with these 5 people. With this small group, over the years, we taught people to teach in the Sai centres. At its peak, we had about 16 to 20 people each training session for a period of 6 to 7 weeks, once a year or alternate years. We trained so many people. We held quarterly meetings with Sai teachers to support them and share their experiences in the centre. Not only did we develop teaching resources, we also began writing a teacher training manual. In 1993, it was with much joy, I went to Prashanti with a small group led by Mary Smith with a finished manual for Swami's blessing. We were there for 1 month, and each day I took the yellow envelope containing the teaching manual to Darshan. Finally, with 3 days to go before we came home, Swami called our group in for an interview. This was my 3rd interview, and each time I was blessed to sit next to him on the left-hand side. Excitedly, we listened to his words, oblivious of anything else. He answered questions for some people. Some people wanted to know all those personal things, and he was so sweet. Such dumb questions. I shouldn't judge. We're so stupid when we are sitting in front of the Lord, I mean, the first one I went there, and I said to Swami, with those 56 people, and I'm sitting next to him, and people were talking about earth changes, and, the next Armageddon and all these things. I said to Swami, for what reason have you invited us here, Swami? When the spiritual tourist, and he looked at me, raised his hand, and he said, always there is a reason. So when people are asking me all sorts of things, I don't know, with all the wisdom of the world, always there is a reason. Anyway, excitedly, we listened to his words, oblivious of anything else. He answered questions for some people, and after Swami had finished, he leaned over and took the crumpled yellow envelope from my lap, which I had completely forgotten about. He took the manuscript out and looked at the picture on the front page. It was of a teacher and SSC children from Melbourne Centre. He turned over the pages slowly, and finally he said with the most beautiful, intoxicating smile, "Very, very happy," and handed it back to me. He gave me that namaskar and I floated out from the interview room. When I arrived home and rang the committee, they were overjoyed. We proceeded to print copies of our training manual, and this became the training manual for Australia. So we made our mark. So the spiritual wing, in 1987, Melbourne Centre relocated to St Joseph's Hall in South Yarra due to the previous property being sold, and our members attending numbered 200 people about every Sunday. The Sai organisation was changed smaller groups were encouraged to form centres in their own geographical areas. This amounted to 25 centres and groups in Victoria and 2 groups east and west. Our centre numbers reduced to about 60, which was appropriate for a smaller venue and parking facilities. On top of our usual activities at the centre, some of our highlights were sadhana camps. And Nikesh will remember this because he organised one of them. And it was the first time that I learned to do the Sufi dancing. Do you remember where they were all floating around trying to do the Sufi twirling dervishes? It was just one of those great sadhana camps. But every sadhana camp was fantastic, but I remembered that one. On top of our usual activities at the centre, so they held the same place, held biannually with the national conferences held each or 2 years. These camps were held in a variety of places around Victoria, usually on Queen's birthday weekend, Catherine Creek, Terrelbin, Anakie, near Lara, Torquay, Summers on the Peninsula and Warburton and others. We loved being together and our time was very rewarding with study groups, environmental activities, concerts at night and service activities. The adrenaline was pretty high, whether it was SSSC children, Sai youth or Sai adults. Swami's teachings prevailed, having workshops and presentations to encourage us all on our spiritual journeys. Then there were the plays, rehearsals and presentations at the concerts, which we all loved. The ladies' wing. A few highlights. We knitted coloured squares for blankets to be distributed to Aboriginal families in southern Victoria. The fun part was teaching some of the Indian ladies how to knit. At Ladies' Day celebration, a Ladies' Day celebration was a play reading. In our Western region, 21 ladies were acting out the feminine roles of Tara in her different forms. This was a reading of the spiritual understanding of the Buddhist tradition, and that was a feminine aspect. Joanne Ferguson, our ladies coordinator, made up toiletry bags for needs for these women, bags of needs required for women who left their homes suddenly because of family abuse. We worked with Southern Health Victoria and we were able to do that for years. One of our highlights was the cooking demonstrations of English cakes. These days were always well attended. The youth wing. Our national youth coordinator was Rama Kusal. At centre level, he was actively involved in organising a youth program / workshop to train the youth in leadership roles and Swami's values in the 90s. Walt Cussworth coordinated these workshops. The youth participated a lot in helping at centre level as well as regional level. They were very strong and disciplined in service activities and we valued their input highly. They organised Guru Purnima celebrations as well as participating in regional activities. One of their accomplishments was a play performed in Prashanti Nili under the Australian banner. Swami gave them a lot of time and was very proud of their dedication to the discipline of practicing his spiritual teachings. Some other highlights in our Sai organisation at Melbourne Centre were organising some national conference venues where all centres in Victoria helped and participated. The first one was at the Health at Trade University in 1984. The next one was at Kyneton in 1989. And this is what Melbourne Centre were doing, because there are others in between. The third was Aubrey Wodonga at Hume Reservoir, 1994, and the following year we did one at Geelong Grammar, 1995, which was wonderful, because all the toilets broke down on the second day. And the headmaster, when he was recommending us to Sydney, we were wondering who these people were that wanted to hire a school. He said, look, these organisations can come any time. They don't complain about anything. and Geelong Grammar, and then was Ballarat University in 2000. This is a brief history and the foundation of the Sri Sathya Sai Centre of Melbourne. And Swami blesses us all and is always with us.
Sarah, thank you, Auntie Margaret, for that wonderful sharing of the 4 years of the Melbourne Centre and its early days and what went into it. It certainly became evident to me that it has a rich and vibrant history, and I think I'm sure that will continue into the future as well. So thank you very much. I'd now like to invite the current president of the Melbourne Centre, Brother Sandeep, who will share a little bit about the future of the centre and where it's heading. So, Brother Sandeep.
Hello everyone, and happy birthday to you all. Well, when me and Auntie, when Auntie actually told me that this year is going to be the 40th anniversary of the centre, and we were discussing about the plan, what the plan for the celebration, and she told me that she will do the story part, and then I'll do the future, and then we open the floor to everyone. But then I thought, what's the future? We don't know the future. Only he knows the future. So I'm just here, like a passing cloud. I have no idea. He's the one who's planning everything. He's the one who's doing everything. We're just here, just to serve him, right? But that's what I thought in my head. There's nothing I know. There's nothing that we know without his knowledge. I think I shared 40 years of experience. Do we know tomorrow? Do we know later today? No idea. It's only his plan. So this is that I just want to say, as long as we surrender to him, as long as we leave everything to him, he'll decide the future for us. He'll decide our next step, he'll decide our next plan. So nothing to say, nothing to plan. As much as I can say that, oh yeah, we do this, without him, we can't do anything. Right? So the future is up to him. It's all we leave to him. I know we trust him. I know we can blindly trust him. He'll plan everything for us. So the future, brothers and sisters, we'll leave it to him. And let's see how it goes. Alright, thank you very much everyone. And just before I finish, I'll give back to Brother Mayala. I just want to say, I think you've heard about the news of Uncle Kumar. Sorry, Uncle Kumar. So Auntie Jyoti has requested that we can all keep him in our prayers. And he's doing okay, but if we can all keep him in our prayers. Thank you everyone, and I'll pass it to my
Thank you very much, Brother Sandeep. It's certainly very humble of you, and I'm sure we're all very appreciative of all the hard work that you put in to keep the centre running. We'd now like to open up the floor for anyone here to share their thoughts and feelings of what this centre means, and I think we have someone who's stepping up to share.
Let me start first by acknowledging the traditional owners of this land and pay my humble respects to them. Sai-Ram everyone. I'd like to congratulate the Melbourne Centre for achieving this fantastic milestone. 40 years is a great achievement. And my association with the centre goes about 25 years. But I'll dwell on that in a bit of detail later on. But let me just give you a bit of a background of the centre. A lot of people would have been here at that time, but a few may not have been here. This used to be an old church hall, right? Over 100 years old. And it was, what you see at the back now was a big stage. And we had storage at the back of the stage. We had 3 cupboards, we had carpets, and it was a very vibrant center. at any given time you will have like 100 people attending the center. And if you wanted to see the budget, you have to be here at 2 o'clock. Because if you're not here at 2 o'clock, the slots, will all disappear. So, so that's a bit of a background about the center. Now it looks different, but I'll tell you what happened. I need to share that as well. Now, as far as I was concerned, I had a role in the center, which was the newcomers coordinator. I don't know how Swami works. Somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, I will ask you to be the newcomers coordinator. I said, what does the job involve? He said, I just meet and greet and introduce people to different coordinators. So I went home and I put myself on the pedestal. I said, Baba, I don't know, I've never done this before. So you have to guide me. And of course, it was a very annoying experience. Answering questions from devotees, familiarizing them with the events and the activities of the center. And I had a great opportunity. I met so many people, not only from different parts of Melbourne, but from interstate and also from overseas. Because Melbourne Center was like a happening center. People coming from all over the place. The first thing they'd see, is there a center in Melbourne? Yes, there is one. It's in South Carolina. So there were lots of things happening at the time. And now, the other important thing that I wanted to talk about is every organization has its ups and downs. For us as a center, our challenging year was 2005. The church authorities approached us at the beginning of 2005 and they said, look, because this is a very old church hall, we need to refurbish this hall. So therefore we will not be able to give you the access to this hall for almost a couple of years. 2 years I think it was. And they said, well, fair enough, but what do we do? Because we've got a congregation here, because people come in and can leave the service. I said, don't worry, we'll give you an automated hall, and I'm sure everything will work out. And guess what they gave us? It wasn't a hall, it was a room. Right next to the car park, they gave us a small room. And I don't know how we managed, but by the grace of Swami, we managed. And Brother Santram, who is sitting at the back there, was the chairperson. Brother Chris Gunasekara was the spiritual coordinator. and Brother Ashok Langer was the service coordinator. And Swami just picks people at the right time. He picked people because he knew that there was a lot of transition. We had to get rid of all the stuff. He had covered by that part.
I was there and we had children's classes there too much.
Yes, that's right.
We crowded him somehow
Yes,
over there.
that's absolutely right. And Swami picks the right people at the right time.
Yes.
Brother Santram is blessed with a beautiful pair of hands. Because we needed someone who could chisel and hammer and chainsaw. We spent countless weekends coming here and ripping stuff up. And the one problem we had was we didn't know what to do with the carpet because the carpet is so huge. Then some brilliant person gave us a suggestion. They said, look, it's too hard to move the carpet, why don't we cut it into little squares and give it to people, they can take it home. What a brilliant idea. So we did that. So that all happened. So that was the most challenging time for us as a center. And of course, I'll be doing a great disservice to the center if I don't talk about the service initiatives that we've had. I know Margaret has touched on some of the initiatives, but the ones that come to my mind was starting from trauma beds to breakfast cereals for breakfast food programs, to collection and distribution of non-perishables for different charities. And the one that I enjoyed the most was the monthly cooking and feeding program at Hanover Foundation in South Melbourne. Basically what we did was we used to present them in the menu, and then we get all the devotees to bring different ingredients, and together we'll be singing bhajans, and we'll have something on the radio, Swami's bhajans, and what are you making? You're doing the pasta. What are you doing? I'm cutting this. A beautiful service. And we should see the smiles on the people's face There were about 100 people I think we used to feed, and it was something that we did once a month. So wonderful experience, and I'm so humbled to be having been a part of that. So I don't want to take much of your time. I know time is of essence. People are eager to get home. Daylight savings have already commenced. So in conclusion, what I would like to say is I'd like to thank everyone who has had a contribution to this center. I don't want to name anyone because if I do, I might miss someone. And I don't, for fear of missing out, I don't want to name anyone, but you know who you are. Thank you for your contribution, and I wish the center any success someday. Who knows what the future is, but let's leave it to him because he knows he will pick the right people at the right time. So I'm sure the center will be in good hands. And last but not least, I'd like to thank you all. What is a center without a congregation? I mean, you are the congregation. You make the center. So thank you very much for being a part of this beautiful journey. Sai Ram, stay blessed always.
Stay there, please. Stay there. Stay there.
I've been here since 91, and I was in Sydney when I came here, and I was by myself. My husband, he came as a family, and he didn't leave the job, he went back. And I was here with my 8-year-old son. And I was into Swami long time in India as well, from 1977. And one day I was sitting at work in the afternoon, and I just felt like no temple, nothing, we never knew anything about it because there was no internet, nothing, and I was sitting with white pages. And suddenly I opened the page for, Science Resource Center. The Science Resource Center, I just said, what, Science Resource Center? And I immediately picked the phone and I saw it. And Trish picked up. Trish was there.
She did the book. She's the one who
Yes.
the guy.
And when I asked her, she said, okay, I'm sending the newsletter and every Sunday we have a project. And then I forgot the following Sunday. Then another Sunday, I didn't have a car or anything. I just where it is. We find out that the railways, and I took the train from Collins Street, and then I came from North Melbourne all the way down here. And when I entered here, the whole atmosphere was so auspicious, absolutely. The incense burning, the candles burning, and I just thought that this is, I found something. What I found strength here. I was alone with my son, and every Sunday I made it a point to come here. And Swami, thank you very much. I survived because of you. Sai Ram.
Just to show brothers that omniscience, last night, that comment that was made today about how every interaction you have with someone is Barbara's interview with you. Last night, I listened to a YouTube, which was an after-death, a near-death experience. And the man said that when he passed on and came back, every interaction he'd ever had while he was alive was shown in his Akashic record, and he had to experience the other person who he'd interacted with. He had to go through every interaction he had while he was alive and experience how it was to be the receiver of those reactions. And I was actually running around the house with this information. I was actually saying, Mark, every interaction we have is recorded in our Akashic record. And I said, how profound is that? Now, if this isn't Barbara's omniscience and another coincidence, I don't know what is. That was only a night ago. And also, Margaret, I take my hat off to your memory, as I do Usher. I was in my 20s here, and I sort of And Swami, I always say thank you, Swami, and Ganesha, to clearing the obstacles and allowing us to even be here, because if you think about what our lives are like, they're so complex, and even just to find the time and space and have chosen everyone who to be able to come, it was so humble that saw us come to say, it's a humbling experience. So to be alive sitting here and be able to do this, it's really amazing. So thank you, Salami.
Sorry, don't everybody. I'm so happy and excited to see so many faces after a gap of 1 year. But I think there is a mistake. It cannot be 40 years. And I would like to request our energetic chairman, Sanjeev, and our elders like Auntie Margaret and Dr. Radha to take the records, because this cannot be 40 years. Because I feel like, except the last little bit of gap, I have been coming here for almost a million years. And I pray and really hope that everybody of you will be here for the 100th celebration. When we get a card for the king, you see. Everybody, please make sure you come and attend it. Hundred is not that far. It's been such a wonderful family. And many more people were already part of this family, and quite a few of them have disappeared. Yes, Om Sai Ram.
For teaching me my first bhajan ever in Glen Huntly Road in the park. I'll never forget coming there and you sitting. We went upstairs and you taught me my very first bhajan when I sang at the Resource Centre and then here. And I can't even begin to tell you what a blessing this has been for me in my life to be able to sing to Swami every week. So thank you, Mukesh.
Everybody, today is Mukesh's birthday. Yes. And I think we should give him a round of happy birthday. Enjoy it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mukesh. Happy birthday to you.
We wanted to keep that for last because I thought Mukesh would be cutting the cake as well. But yes, let's listen to you.
So I'd like to share our journey with Baba and the Melbourne Centre. It started like many other devotees who experienced crises and challenges in their lives and turned to Baba for help. We were introduced to Baba through the book Man of Miracles by Howard Moses. In the book, it is mentioned that there are many centers in Australia
where devotees gathered. So Robert found a number of Melbourne centres, spoke to a gentleman, Rick Prescott, and got the details and the address. Thus began our beautiful journey with Baba. I will never forget the first bhajan we attended in the Migrant Resource Centre in Brand, off Chapel Street. We arrived a few minutes late, and due to difficulty finding in the parking, and as we entered, the lights of the room were dim, and the room appeared full, and the entrance was on the men's side. Totally ignorant of the rules of the centre, we sat down, the 6 of us, in a little open space that we could see as we entered. The bhajan started soon, and I devotedly sang my heart out, only to realize at the end of the bhajan that my 3 daughters and I were sitting on the men's side the entire bhajan. Everybody was very loving and kind and welcomed us to the centre, saying that we were new and all this was all new to us. On a personal level, my connection with bhajan grew stronger and stronger, and I felt myself yearning for my weekly dose of satsang. I was especially drawn to the prayers that concluded every bhajan. They allowed me to receive the peace and love that my soul needed. It was not long that my whole family was actively involved in the centre. My younger children were involved with Balvikas and the older ones in the youth group, service activities, annual camps, and national conferences. Melbourne Centre is the mothership that headed the coordination of many activities and also over the years supported newer centres to establish themselves regionally. The centre has always had several members that have held leadership roles at the national level. In its 40 years of operation, this centre has been known to be a great magnet, bringing together spiritual seekers from all parts of the community. Its embracing culture and love of divinity continues to be, the diversity continues to be the pulse of the centre, which is felt by everyone today.
My humble pronouns and the local people for one Lord. Salam everyone. Most of the things have already been mentioned. Actually, I don't know if maybe I will just do the final touch up, I can say. Going back actually in 87, I remember landing here on the 3rd of October, and on the 4th of October being Sunday, actually I was mentioned that the center is here in Melbourne, and I ended up coming here. And when I saw this center, actually, that was a massive big stage. From one end to another, the shrine was decorated. You name it, you got it. Actually, all the pictures, all the statues, all the ornaments, everything is there. And quite a few times, actually, we did witness Swami's presence. Miracles started happening. And once, actually, we had a home here. Dr. Sai was here, actually, who is currently now in the uni in Prashanti. He did the home actually, and Swami's presence just came up with the massive amount of vibhuti on the culture. And as the years passed by, my kids actually grew up actually in the center with the SSC teachings and everything. Though we all came from the different part of the world, with a different mindset, different views and everything. It was not that easy actually when I was chosen as a chairperson. In fact, actually, I had to take a role twice, going back actually in year 2004, and then again it was later actually, I think, year 2014. And Brother Chris was one of them actually, and of course Nitin actually was there. Many of us actually, of course, not forgetting Brother Vasabu, who is no longer with us actually currently. And of course, many of them I haven't seen them for the last many years here. Now, as the time passed, actually with this mindset as I was talking about, it was very hard to handle actually because everyone comes with a different view that he has done that, he has done that, and keeps going on actually. And I said, well, I've been new here, and I said, well, Swami, how do you handle this? But at the end of the day, things were so smooth, happy-go-lucky actually, and that's not only here actually, all the other centers started, I can say, progressing actually in many ways, and the amount of human values we have learned here is just going to prosper actually years to come actually with the families and friends. Nothing else much to say actually. Of course, Brother is here actually. I would like to say he's one of the pioneers. Brother. Yes. Thank you everyone. Saira.
Came to this center after having been to the center at St. Mary's Street, it was before we came here. We were at St. Mary's Street. Just down the road. That's right. Yeah. That's right. So, just a few things that I would like to say. I was the spiritual coordinator when Sansa was the president, and that's after we lost his home, and we went to that little place. And I don't know if you remember our speaker, that massive speaker. It was about tiny weight, and the front was covered in mesh, and I had to carry it every day from home back to the center, and I had cuts all over my hand. Carrying because that mesh, trying to fit it into the car, and sometimes I had help, sometimes I didn't, and especially when I was going back from home. And then of course, we were fortunate to get enough money to buy the two sets of speakers, because the place I used to work in the city just got downstairs was a music shop. Equipment, and we managed to buy, and what a blessing it was because that stopped me from carrying food. And the other thing, for the first time I saw Swami, I had never seen Swami in my dreams. The first time I saw Swami in my dreams was when I took over, the president, was it chairmanship or from Jan. John came to my place and handed over the books and the keys. And that night, for the first time, I saw Swami in my dreams. That was it. Never again. Om Sara.
Uncle Ranga. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Carrying those speakers, because when you sing, your heart is, you just have a sort of ecstasy. Your heart for Swami is amazing, and I do remember it when you had that almost a heart attack on the floor here, and those that carried those speakers must have done something in one way, but
there was a miracle sort of when you had that heart attack and were laying there. Do you want to tell us about it?
So, we had worked in the cupboard, and I was sitting on one of these chairs, and I felt a bit, uneasy, and I was feeling, there's not a reflux, and I thought, it's probably something I ate. And so then there was Chin, then there was, there were two other nurses, Sri Lankan nurses, and so I kind of felt, I thought I was going to fall off the chair, and I sat on the ground, and then I thought I was going to faint, I just lost consciousness. And when I woke up, there was, these people from, ambulance, they come here, and they were trying to revive me. And, but I could, even though I passed out, I could hear Jane and, the other two ladies making a huge fuss about me. And I thought I was smiling, and I kind of, I could hear everything that was going on. But I never realized that I had, virtually died. And so when I woke up, they revived me, and the ambulance person said, I said, what's the fuss about? And he said, what do you mean, what's the fuss about? He said, you were actually dead, we just revived you. And but I was so happy, I thought I was smiling. I don't know what I look like, but that was my experience. But I wish it that, I don't know, I was so happy, that I have possibly gone somewhere good. But anyway, that's another story.
It's my colleagues' appreciation of this very what did I deserve to be part of this center? That's what I'm trying to find the answer to this. I don't think I've done anything great in the past. I think that past is all the thing. So, it belongs to Swami. I want to remind myself of that it belongs to Swami. So, I won't take much of time actually. When Anu was one of my wife, we came as migrants. First I was in the YWCA, Young Women's Christian Association Accommodation, very chilly atmosphere from Chennai to here and everything. And then the thought was always there, because Anu wasn't very much into Sai, but Sai was always sort of in the back of the mind, bringing. And I was praying that and just exactly what Vignesh Shanmugam mentioned. He said, wherever we go, whichever part of the world we go, we always ask, can I look at size and nearby and go there? So that thought was there. Swami, I'm looking for a rental place. Please put me in a place which is close to Sai Center. This is a miracle because I don't deserve this. He has done it. Probably a lot of people may not know, the age newspaper, which used to be like classical ads, used to be like maybe 100 pages or 150 pages kind of thing. So you go to for circulating the cars and accommodation, rental accommodation like that. It was very daunting for me. I'm not used to that, what you call such huge newspaper. And then Saturday morning you have to do that kind of thing, and make calls like that. And I closed my eyes. I wasn't even thinking about Baba, but the thought was only there, I need to close to a center. And then I circulated something. I didn't believe that. A lot of people may not know. Near the Sathya Sai station, there used to be a Williams and Co. agency. Williams and Co. Probably occasionally. So Williams and Co. agency said, okay, there's a property, and there's a rental place on All Home Street. So I used to meet there. Yeah, I know myself used to meet. So that was walking distance to Noka. So walking distance to Pradhan Migrant Resource Center. So I look at this center and I walk and then come back. To go and attend the weddings, but I walk and come back. And that's how the journey started, as I think Auntie has said. If you go late for the center, you won't be able to get into the door because the hall will be full. The hall will be full. And Max Brown and Pooja says, absolutely wonderful atmosphere. And it was so vibrant. Of course, the Grey Street Central Diamond, the activity of what we call preparation. I used to be part of various centers also like them and so on. We can go on and on about that. And what I would say is I don't want to think too much about the past or the future. It's probably as Cindy was saying, I just want to live in the present. I think Swami is telling this moment is so absolutely beautiful, wonderful contributions from various people, especially with the stewardship of Sandeep and coordination. And also, thanks for that. It remains an opportunity, silent volunteer.
Sarah, thank you everyone who came forward and shared their reflection and experiences. I'm sure we could be here all night hearing about the stories, but I think what we heard today gave us an insight into the journey of the centre over the last 40 years, and I'm sure it has a very bright and exciting future ahead of us as well.